Welcome to this evening's spiritual hotshot with yours truly, Pastor Parrish Day here, U.T.C 2 Live. I hope what I have to share with you tonight will motivate, uplift, and jumpstart you for the rest of this week as I take you into a place of understanding. Do you know who you are? Let's go. Wow, this evening has been off the hook. But you know what? I'm not going to let the enemy win in this. We tried to do a very special broadcast this evening, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And the enemy was trying to stop me, but I got my dukes up and I'm ready. I'm not even going to let him do a hindrance in this. I see my people coming on who were supposed to be on a live stream with me. We're going to make sure that this happens next week. But let's go into this. I want to tell you all a little story real quick. It's not going to take long, still a 15-minute spiritual hot shot. And I hope that the prompts that you get in this message, you can relate to, and then take those tools that I give you and use it for the better of your good. Okay, so let me tell you about the story real quick. One day, a man named Duel, he was walking along this country roadway. Every now and then, he stuck out his thumb to see if someone would give him a ride. Let's look at this as how we sometimes ask folk for help, but folks seems to ignore us. Now, Duel was exhausted because about a mile back, his car had broken down because he had run out of gas, and the gas station was about another mile ahead. Duel is exhausted and sighing, but he continues on his journey. Let's relate this to how we get tired in our circumstances. And although we have asked for help, nobody seems willing to help us. So we keep dragging, keep pushing, we keep on going, but we are drained and tired. When will this end? I'm tired of this life. I've had enough. This is what most of us feel like Duel, and the feelings become overwhelming. This is how we all have at some point felt or feel in our lives. We simply feel worn out. Can anybody relate to that? So Duel, frustrated and tired and worn out, thought to himself, why not just end it all? Why not just walk out in this road so that a moving car would just hit me and it'd be done and over with? Funny how Duel thought this, and then he also realized there was no darn cars coming down the road. Heck, he couldn't even take his own life, even if he wanted to. And he's exhausted, and mentally he's tired from walking this long road with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He couldn't even think to fathom what would happen should he make that decision. So he presses on because he knows he has a sick wife at home and 5 kids waiting for him, and they need him to get home. This is most of our situations. We have the weight of the world on our shoulders, but we know the responsibilities that we have and what awaits us at home that we have to get home to. So Duel, he's walking and he began to question, why does my life have to be this way? It just drags on day after day in misery and sorrow. And he's talking to himself, asking, when will this life get any better? I think we all have been at that moment of just feeling like life can't deal us anything else, anything more of misery. Because if it does, we're just going to snap. We're at that mental breakdown of just enough is enough. See, Duel and his wife, they both used to have jobs, but they both lost them. Not only did they lose their jobs, but they lost their home, their possessions. They lost everything. And life wasn't feeling too good right about now. And then to top it all off, his wife was sick with this terrible illness, which he couldn't even afford to properly take care of her. So on top of all they had already lost, he's now worried about losing his wife as well. As Duel is walking, he's still thinking, still talking to himself. Y'all keep bearing with me because I'm going somewhere. I must hurry because I know the kids are hungry and waiting for me to get home. I know my wife is probably worried because I'm taking so long. They need a meal. The kids are waiting to be fed. This is just too much. Earlier, Duel had managed to buy some meat and food from the grocery store and was on his way to prepare this meal when the situation happened with the car. Still walking and thinking and frustrated and angry, finally, he sees a car approaching in the distance. I hope this car stops, he says to himself, but the car didn't stop. Another car came by, passed right by, didn't stop. Another car came by, passed right by, didn't stop. No one stopped to help this man who is all alone on this dark, empty country road, clearly needing help. Ain't this how folk act sometimes when we're sometimes in real need? They see that we're struggling, be it mentally, physically, emotionally, and they refuse to stop and help us, not even knowing we're at the edge of a major breakdown. That if the next darn thing happens, if the next daggone car drives by and act like they don't see us in need or in help, we're just going to jump out in front of it and end it all, because this is just too much. Dual driven by desperation, thinking of his family, how sick his wife was, how sick his wife has been, and the kids who are home waiting are what motivated him to keep walking. That's how we are as parents. We know that our children, our families, our husbands, our spouses, they're waiting for us. They need us. So we keep pushing through our circumstances, through our desperation. We keep pushing because we know we got some things we have to handle. But he keeps pushing. Dual keeps pushing, and he remained faithful to the course. And as tired as he was from all this walking he had done, finally, he reaches the gas station. He walks in, dips in his pocket, pulls out some crumbled up dollars and some coins, and it gave a total of $3.74. He headed to the attendant and he said, "Here, this is what I have. Can you please give me some gas? My car has run out of gas and I'm just trying to get home." The attendant looked at Dual with scorn and impatience, much like how folk act when they have no compassion, no empathy, no heart, no passion for serving others. He looked at Dual and said, "Gas is $5," and handed him back his money. Dual fumbled around in his pockets and found a few more coins. They totaled up to another 50 cents. So now he has $4.24. Remember, the gas is $5. "Please, sir, I walked 3 miles to get here. I'm just trying to get home to my 6 wife and kids. Can you please give me a gallon of gas? And I'll bring you back the other 76 cents tomorrow, first thing in the morning." "No, I can't do that," said the attendant to Dual, with all this anger and attitude and ungodliness. "I'm about to close up, and if you ain't got the money, you need to go on and leave, because I got to hurry up and lock up." Dual pleaded again with the attendant, said, not only is this urgent and it's important, I really need to get this gas." The attendant fires back with, "If you ain't got the money, then you need to go on and leave, because I can't help you." Dual pleaded again. The attendant still walked away, pushing him out the store. This is how folk act when they don't have a godly spirit or a caring or empathetic heart. They could care less about your suffering, your circumstances. They only care about the fact that they're not in the predicament or the situation that you're in, so they don't give a hoot. With despair, Dual walked away. He would just have to walk back to this car, get the food he had bought earlier, and walk with it home. This was about to be a long 7 or 8 mile walk on top of the 3 miles he walked to get to the gas station and the 3 he would have to walk back to the car. Yeah, this was about to be a long night. So Dual started walking, and he's thinking, and he's even more frustrated than before, because there's no way he's going to get home in time to cook this meal for his family before the kids fall off to sleep. Y'all, I'm about to hit it. Stay with me. His body was hurting from all the walking and the pain. This pain had shot up in his feet and his legs, and Dual was truly about at breaking point. He was exhausted and tired and feeling faint. So he leaned up against the post along the roadway and cried out, "Lord, why me?" I know we all have been there. Lord, why me? He dropped down to the ground, sobbing with his face in his hands. He's crying out to God in sorrow of his circumstances, but with passion and of his heart, because he knew of the responsibilities that he had at home. "Lord, when will you help me?" Suddenly, Out of nowhere, a car pulls up right in front of him, right at his feet. God will send help from unexpected places when we call on him. Notice I said earlier, Duel was talking to himself. He wasn't talking to God. So this car pulls up and the window slowly rolls down and the man says, "Sir, can you help me? I'm looking for a man that lives around these parts. They call him Dual Duke. Would you know him from around here? Would you tell me how to get to him?" Dual replied through his sobs and tears, "Yeah, he does live around these parts, but it's a good ways from here." The man said, "Well, how far does he live?" Dual replied, "About 7 or 8 miles from here if you take me back to my car first." The man, looking confused, said, "To your car first?" Dual replied, "You see, sir, I'm Dual Duke, but my car broke down some miles back and I need to get to the food that I brought for my family earlier." The man smiled at Dual and said, "There's no need for all of that, Dual. There's plenty of food where you're going." Dual said, "Huh?" The man replied, "Yes, because who sent for you has enough food for you and your family. Now let's go get your wife and kids and get on this journey." Dual was really hesitant about getting to this stranger's car. Watch this. Earlier today, he was frustrated that no car would stop in his desperation to get him to the gas station. Any car that stopped was going to be his ride to get to that gas for whatever reason, however it was going to be done, whether he had to ride in the back or whatever. He didn't care how he was going to get there. His mind was only focused on what he needed to do and the solution to his problem. Mind you, not one time earlier did I mention, and I'm saying this again, did Dual ask God for direction or did he cry out to God before he got that gas? But now here it is, after he had turned down all that he could do, all the suffering, all the frustration that he could handle. He's turned down the gas station. Cars are driven by him. They've left him in great despair. And now he's called on God. "Lord, when will you send help?" So now help has come in a way he didn't expect it. And he questioned God's help. We are so quick to do this all the time. We try to make things happen in our own ways, never once asking God for help or to give us direction to make it happen in his way. We just set out in our own selfness, headstrong and determined, yet when it fails, we fall not only in humility, but in despair, failure, setback, and brokenness. It's not until after we are broken that we then say, "Lord, help us." And then the good Lord sends help. And our crazy selves start questioning the help because it didn't look like the plan or idea in which we had in our minds and was attempting to make work. We question our help from unexpected places. See, the Bible tells us our ways are not God's ways, and God's ways are not our ways. God's thoughts are on a whole greater scale than ours. So where Duke was thinking, get the gas to get home, God was thinking, call on me so that I can give you something even greater. So here is this stranger that has come out of nowhere looking for Dual. Sometimes it's a stranger that we may not expect that blesses our whole entire lives. They may not even know us personally, but they know that they were sent, and in their obedience, they are being obedient to what God instructed them to do. The stranger says, "Come on, Dual, the king has sent for you." Dual looking confused and he's concerned, saying, "Huh? The king? The king is sent for me for what? What have I done?" The stranger shakes his head at him and says, "Dual, you have done nothing wrong except you are a child of a king. You see, the king has been searching for you for many years now. And today he discovered exactly where you were. So he sent for you." Dual, still confused, he's discovered where I was today. What about all the other days? The stranger said, "Yes, a call was put in that led him right to you. Now let's go get your wife and kids because a place awaits for you in the king's palace. Joel said, but what about my groceries? The stranger replied, at the palace where there is a banquet prepared for you, there are also many rooms. There are many rooms. There are so many things that the king has laid out for you as a king's kid. So you have no worries. You must now take your place in the kingdom. Joel, still taken by everything being said to him, began to laugh. And then he began to laugh uncontrollably. The stranger said, Joel, why are you laughing? What has humored you so? Joel replied, so you mean to tell me all my life I have suffered in poverty, shame, stress, anxiety, depression, embarrassment, hurt, humiliation. I've spent years squabbling for food and begging for help, and I've endured many losses and setbacks, disappointments, and trial. And now you're here trying to tell me all this time I'm a child of a king? All this suffering could have been avoided if I only knew who I was? That's where you're supposed to get your shout, y'all. All these years, Joel going through all the years of him trying to do it on his own, all these years of y'all questioning God, all these years of y'all trying to handle circumstances on your own without calling on the name of Jesus, all these failures, and finally feeling enough is enough, you finally call on the name of the King and instantly became a child of the Most High. What? Somebody should be shouting right now because God sent me as a stranger. I'm the stranger in the road to tell you who you are. Somebody today called on the name of Jesus. Somebody said, Lord, come by here. Somebody said, God, help me. Somebody today said, Father, I need. Somebody today said, Jehovah Jireh. And tonight, he's answering you. I was sent to tell you the King has sent for you. John 1:12, the New King James Version says, but as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name. When you believe in the name and call on him, you become one of his children and he will send for you. We are children of him who is high above all. For you, Lord, are the most high over all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. He holds the world in his hands, and the nations are like the drop of a bucket to him. Psalms 50:10 says, the cattle on 1,000 hills are his. The world is his and all that is in it. He is the King of glory, the Lord of hosts. By him was the world made. He spoke and it was done. He commanded and it stood fast. Before the world became, he was. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He is not just a king. He is the King of all kings. He is not just any Lord, but he is the Lord of all lords. So let us not be in despair when life has challenged us. Let us not be sorrowful at circumstances that can be handled. Let us not be in fear. Why? Because our Father is a king and we are his children. And since his children are heirs, we are joint heirs with Christ. He said, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, you can ask me for anything and you will receive it. This is powerful. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thy hands against the wrath of my enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. The Lord will perfect that which cometh me. Thy mercy, O Lord, endure forever. Forsake not the works of thine own hands. Tonight I ask, what is it that you lack? What is it that you need? What is it that you trust God for? What is it that's wearing you out and that you're willing to call on the King to handle on your behalf. Your Father, the King of all the earth, can supply it, be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. You are a king's kid. Therefore, the king will never let his child or his children live in poverty, despair, anxiety, depression, stress, anger, frustration, hurt. You are a king's kid. Therefore, ask your father. Ask him for what you need. Say, Daddy, I need, and he shall provide. This is your spiritual hot shot for this Wednesday. I pray that the words that I just gave you motivate you, inspire you, and have filled you up to understand who you are. You're not just by name. You were created by the beat of your heart, a rhythm in God's ear, and he hears the passion, the compassion, the empathy, and the love that he placed just within you. Have a blessed night.